Hey, it's Drybear. We've got another round of updates for Retribution Paladin in patch 10.0.7 on the PTR, so we're going to roll through those today. Paladin's probably getting the most amount of changes in general out of any class in 10.0.7, and Retribution specifically is getting a whole bunch of stuff. They've got another list of changes for us today. If you found value in this video, leave a like down below. It helps me out tremendously. Subscribe for more gaming content, and as always, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by now. On to the post. Let's do it. Okay, so hello again, Paladins. Working from feedback, we've received the new 10.0.7 build, including changes to talent positions, holy power generation, general build synergy, and many bug fixes. Firstly, class. Unbound Freedom is now located on the class tree for the Retribution specialization only. Interesting. It's a synergy option that you can use in groups. It gives you double freedom. Okay. So it's only Ret gets access to it. Only Ret gets access to Healing Hands, and Zealot's Paragon has been removed from the talent tree for the Retribution specialization only. So you have Healing Hands and Unbound Freedom on the class tree for Ret, and then Zealot's Paragon. They're kind of creating options in that tree. With Zealot's Paragon going away, they now add Vengeful Wrath, a new talent, Vengeful Wrath, Hammer of Wrath, which makes Hammer of Wrath always critically strike. This talent is located on the class tree for the Retribution spec only. You can guarantee crits for Hammer of Wrath. That could be a really interesting way to change the stats. Probably not, but it might end up being picked up depending on where they put it. If they replace the position with Zealot's Paragon, it will be picked up, but they're not always super clear on that. I'd have to load up the PTR and see exactly where that is. On to the class or the spec changes. New talent, Vanguard of Justice. Your single target holy power abilities cost 1 additional holy power and deal 20% increased damage. Flat. So all of them just go up by 1 holy power. The changes to Dawn and Dusk make this less of a problem. Because then you can activate your Dawn and Dusk much easier. In 10.0.5 right now, this would be rough, because if you had to get to exactly 5 holy power and then exactly 0, when you had, like a 3 cost going to a 4 cost, that'd be really weird. But this option means that you can build, spend, and they do bonus damage. And I'm curious how that ends up working. I mean, it could be that this, since it has 2 ranks, it goes 2 additional. So Divine Storm or, your Templars could maybe be more damaging but cost a full spend, and that changes how your rotation works. Maybe. This is interesting to say the least. It's hard to say exactly how valuable this is going to be, but if it ends up being valuable, it does create an interesting playstyle for Ret. New talent, Divine Wrath, Avenging Wrath, Crusade, duration increased by 3 seconds, so kind of flat passive gain there. Executioner's Will has been redesigned, now increase the duration of execution sentence and final reckoning by 3 seconds. That actually is better. I think that is better. It allows you to use those windows a little bit easier. And again, it depends on where, if it's still in the same spot in the tree, it's probably going to get picked up. Adjudication has been redesigned, now increases critical strike chance by 2%, and Hammer of Wrath crits cause a blessed hammer to spiral around you, dealing holy strike damage to enemies, which then you can run with this new talent, Vengeful Wrath, where your Hammer of Wrath always critical strikes. So now, increase crit by 2% by flat, and Hammer of Wrath, when it crits, which you can make it always crit, cause a blessed hammer to spiral around you, dealing bonus damage. If that blessed hammer gives you holy power, that could be a cool synergy. That could be a nice way to do that. Justicar's Vengeance now has a default range of 8 yards. So I guess people like the change, so they made it flat. Interesting. Crusader's Reprieve now also affects the range of Rebuke, the interrupt. Okay. Final Reckoning now lasts 10 seconds from 9 seconds, and you deal 40% increased damage down from 50%. So they made Final Reckoning last slightly longer, do slightly less, but you can increase the duration of it with Executioner's Will being redesigned. So you can get, from 9 seconds, you get up to 13 seconds, but you get 10% damage off of that. It lowers their burst potential, but does help them in PvE. So in like raid content specifically, the longer duration probably would be nice for a lot of damage windows for them. Imperial Legacy, lockout period, now 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. Okay, that one's free. That's just a free win right there. Inquisitor's Ire now gains a stack every 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. A nice buff. Art of War now only triggers once per Crusader Strike cast, whether it be from manual casting or auto attacks. Okay, so no double procs on that. So they made it so you can't multiple proc on Art of War, but the chance to proc was increased. I think that's a fair trade-off. It makes it more consistent. It kind of removes some of the crazy not crazy, but it is runaway potential where you can have multiple, but Art of War having a higher proc chance but can't double proc. I think that just is more consistent. This should help them again, mostly in raid. Penitence is now 1 rank. Divine Hammer now deals damage every 2 seconds from 1.5, and total duration has been increased to 12 from 9. Longer duration with a longer window, probably mostly raid. I mean, it'll help on Tyrannical Mythic Plus, but usually for Mythic Plus big pulls or in PvP, you want all that damage to be condensed so you can kind of get everything bursted out. And when they slow things down like this, it's mostly for raids when you have like these long 6 to 15 minute boss fights where you have more consistency is better, because then you can keep your DPS up longer, and then it matters less if you hit that window or not because it has more reliability. So maybe they're just trying to get their the ret damage in raid to be a little bit more viable. But if you disagree or you have another thought, let me know in the comments down below. Vanguard's Momentum is now 1 rank. That's nice. We save a point on that. Hammer of Wrath damage increased by 16% baseline. Ooh, okay. That's nice. Execution Sentence now causes 25% of the damage you deal to be added to Execution Sentence instead of 10%. Wow. Okay, a nice buff to Execution Sentence. They're even buffing after all the changes. That's crazy. Blessed Champion now correctly states that additional, so that's a text update. Commanding Judgment now causes additional judgments to deal 50% reduced damage to targets instead of 85. So Commanding Judgment getting nerfed. High Lord's Judgment now additionally increases the duration of Judgment by 2 seconds per rank. Awesome, nice little buff there. Tempest of the Lightbringer no longer consumes a stack of Judgment. Another free win. Crusader Strikes now generates 1 holy power every 2 attacks instead of every 1. So you get a little less holy power from that. Maybe it was just generating too much. I didn't test Crusader Strikes to see if that was too much, but I guess they decided it was. Righteous Cause chance to trigger reduced to 20% was 25%. Vanguard's Momentum no longer grants additional damage to Hammer of Wrath as its base value was significantly increased. Okay, so Vanguard's Momentum no longer makes Hammer of Wrath better, but now you can make Hammer of Wrath always crit, and Hammer of Wrath by default is 16% stronger. That's kind of a nice win. It means that it does seem like maybe they've been paying attention to the builds people have been making on the PTR, and they're trying to make it so that there are some variety and choices for what you build, rather than just kind of one direct, this is the best, you go with this. Fixed an issue that prevented Divine Hammer from benefiting from Sanctify. Fixed an issue Consecrated Ground. Fixed an issue on Imperium Power. Fixed an issue at Blessing of Dime. Fixed an issue with Penitence. Fixed an issue that caused Sanctified Plates. Fixed an issue on Justicar's Vengeance. Cool. As you can see, we have not yet focused on tuning. We're still working on the amount of single target talent choices, Holy Strike Radiant builds, and Ret overall mobility package. We intend to move into tuning in the near future. So they're just kind of getting the tree right, the class tree, the spec tree, and making sure the choices are interesting and everything working, but they're still tweaking the numbers to see if things are doing too much or too little, that kind of thing. And I think that's the right way to go about it. That's always the way I've looked at it as a game developer in the past, is just find the fun first, make sure everything's right, then you can find the balance afterward, get everything sorted up that way. But you don't want to get the balance and then have to rework something and then have to get the balance again, especially if you're in a test environment that isn't live yet. So that's what we're getting for Ret. That's the Ret update. Big shout out to the people that have been testing Ret and making builds and doing community content for it. That is awesome. But this is cool. I think this is a fresh take for all Paladin specs. Ret protection mostly. Some nice changes for Holy, but some big changes coming for Ret. Let me know what you think down below. That's the update. If you found value in the video, leave a like down below. And as always, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by and say hi. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content. Link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.